everyone! So not long after I analyzed the previous episode of Skibidi Zombie Multiverse, episode 65 came out almost instantly, so now it's time to get done with it as well. So the previous episode ended on some really thrilling cliffhanger, and in this one I expected to see what actually happened to Elite TV Man and his cyborg friend. Well, turned out I was wrong because episode 65 actually focused on something different. Now we're getting a separate plotline connected to Dark Plungerman, aka the Plague Doctor, and what new evil plans he has in mind. So today we'll learn new horrifying secrets about SCP Dave and what is going to happen to the Alliance in the nearest future. So now then, get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end, because it's going to be really crazy. And let's go! But before I'll start digging into episode 65, let me remind you real quick about the events of the previous episode, just as I always do. So episode 64 showed to us what happened to Elite TV Man that got swallowed by the Skibidi skeleton while Calvin watched it in desperation. Titan Cameraman, who is now free from fighting the Skibidi Mafia, steps in to help, but hesitates when Calvin warns him that TV Man is still inside the creature. Inside the skeleton, it's revealed that he was mechanical, which explained how his special abilities worked. As Titan prepares to rescue Elite TV Man, the skeleton is suddenly ordered to retreat by the Plague Doctor, and Calvin, despite his injuries, grabs a Speakerman's jetpack to follow him. He mentions their next destination, City of the Dead, indicating where help might await. As the skeleton flies off, Elite TV Man escapes by cutting through internal pipes, weakening the creature and slipping out. Meanwhile, Titan Cameraman engages in a fight with the skeleton and gets damaged really badly. Calvin catches Elite TV Man midair with his jetpack, but their landing is pretty rough. Calvin is knocked out, and infected toilets close in. Elite TV Man, who is still conscious, jumps into the waterfall to escape their chase, and then dives into the water to rescue Calvin from drowning while dodging attacks along the way. He saves Calvin and blocks their pursuers with a blast, but the two now face a massive waterfall ahead. The episode ended on a pretty tense note, with uncertainty around Titan Cameraman's condition after the skeleton damaged his lens and escaped. But as I've already mentioned, episode 65 is going to focus on Plungerman anyway, which is really interesting, so let's dive into this now. So it starts with the reference to one of the Skibidi YouTubers who was working in collaboration with Monster Up some time ago, and then we see something really unexpected. We see the location that never appeared in the series before, and it looks like some kind of village where both TV Man and cameraman used to live together. And to make the whole thing even weirder, it's also important to point out that Skibidi toilets, uninfected ones I mean, seem to live here as well before everything started falling apart. And to be honest, this really reminded me of Dom Studios' Skibidi Multiverse immediately, because in one of their episodes we could also see a village full of vulnerable people that got destroyed in some kind of war conflict insisted by the villain. And I don't know for sure whether Monster Up got inspired by this multiverse or not, but I'm pretty sure that there definitely was some kind of inspiration taken from the Star Wars prequel movie trilogy featuring young Anakin Skywalker, and why it is so I'll explain to you really soon. Okay, and for now let me also mention that it seems like those agents and toilets who used to live in this village apparently aren't connected to either the Alliance or the Skibidi army at all, and they lived fully independently. Well, and now it played quite a cruel joke with them because once SCP Dave attacked this area, there was nowhere to actually protect those villagers. We can actually see how the whole village is getting rampaged by a bunch of infected, and then we're focusing on one of the survived TV men who doesn't even try to teleport away to at least save himself for some reason. Instead, he just leans towards some building's wall. And that's when we see that his teleportation abilities have been restricted by the very same device Elite TV Man was also forced to wear while he was a prisoner on the Skibidi scientist base. Now everything fits together, and we hear how the TV Man says "damn it" as he sees a lifeless body of another TV man next to him. He tries to remove the anti-teleportation device off his arm, but of course it doesn't work. And then we see a pretty epic appearance of no other than Dark Plungerman, who is now fully blended with the Plague Doctor's persona. And do you guys remember what I told about Star Wars references and the whole Anakin Skywalker mimicry? Yep, that's pretty much it. Plungerman slowly approaches the terrified TV man while all sorts of war crimes are happening behind his back. And I'm pretty sure that Plungerman is the one commanding his minions to destroy and hurt. There really seems to be no way back for our good old Dave to become good again, because it looks like now he's fully embraced his evil side, just like Anakin. The TV man says to him, "Plunger, please don't, I give up." So we can see that this TV man used to know Dave apparently, and he is even pleading him to save his life. But of course it doesn't work, as Plungerman's goal is entirely different. He cuts the throat of the poor agent, and in this moment, we can see the Plague Doctor's mask behind Plungerman's figure, which reminds us once again who is controlling Dave's mind and body right now. In the meantime, we can see how some big TV man that survived the beginning of this raid beats the hell out of the infected minions, and he is equipped with all kind of pretty cool stuff. For example, a small version of a gravity gun. But unfortunately, this isn't enough to defeat such a villain as the Plague Doctor. But the big TV man still decides to risk it all and try to make this happen. Big TV man tries to push Plungerman to the ground with the power of his gravity gun. But Dave also has some interesting tricks up his sleeve. As he activates one of the cores, it allows him to stop the gravity attacks coming from the TV man and also open a portal to another dimension. Or maybe he opened a portal to his laboratory or his lair where he kept some of his freakiest minions and summoned this atrocity. I don't even know how to describe this creature exactly, but it looks like something that could have been taken straight from Diablo games, you know. This infected surely underwent several virus modifications during the Plague Doctor's experiments. Right after his arrival, he jumps on the big TV man, and then we can see short battle between the two of them with the sad ending for the survived TV man. Poor guy had no chance here, that's for sure. But just fatally piercing the TV man's body was not enough for this overblown, ugly freak. So after that, this monstrosity also throws unconscious TV man into the ground and starts stomping on him like crazy. And while the Plague Doctor watches this cruel show closely, some Skibidi rushes past him, but Dave prevents him from fleeing. As he looks into this Skibidi face, he realizes that it's his buddy Skibidi, or Calvin. It really shocks Plungerman. I mean the real Plungerman, whose mind and body were controlled by the Plague Doctor, and in the moments of strong emotion, he briefly comes to his actual senses. Does that mean that he still has some chances for a redemption arc? Honestly, I'm not so sure, but it would be pretty good if he'll manage to abolish the Plague Doctor out of his head eventually, at least. During the short moment of emotional hallucination, the Plague Doctor loses control not only over Plungerman, but also over his zombie minions, which means that once Dave returns to his senses completely, the zombies won't be able to hurt anyone again, but that's still quite a long way to go. Okay, and in this moment we can also notice the mecha scientist cameraman, who apparently lived in this village all this time for some reason. Far away from the Alliance and other agents, even though he and Plungerman seem to be friends in this multiverse as well. Maybe later we'll see more of him in the current plot. But for now, Plungerman gets controlled by the Plague Doctor once again, who tells him it's obviously not Skibidi, but another random male Skibidi toilet. So Dark Plungerman destroys this poor toilet as well, and then he gets approached by the literal cameraman cat? What the helly? I know it's supposed to be cute, but man, I'd rather throw this creature into the nuclear reactor or something. That's pretty damn uncanny. But of course, Plungerman is more than pleased with this creature because every villain is supposed to have a white cat pet, right? So he takes the camera cat with him and enters another portal while taking all of the destroyed TV men's head screens as well. And Mecha Cameraman jumps into the portal as well, even though it's extremely dangerous. Then we can also notice a bat for one moment, which probably means that the infected bat TV man from the earlier episodes actually survived and might be back in the series soon. Well, why not? Okay, so Mecha somehow managed to stay unnoticed after he left the portal, and now he's watching from the hiding spot what Dark Plungerman is doing with his experiments. So there is one infected here tied to the chair, and all the cores are also installed around him, and Plungerman places one of the taken TV screens right in front of him. After that, we can see how the cores, while placed in the right order, are capable of influencing the TV glow in some way beneficial for the Plague Doctor. So the TV glow gets absorbed via several cores after it got sucked out of the TV itself. Even though I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I barely understand how that even works, scientifically speaking. The most important part is that in the end of that process, the infected gets literally shot with the substance or energy that occurred to be after all these transformations, and then the infected gets transformed himself. And the ending result really surprised me. The infected, who used to be zombie cameraman all right, turned out into some kind of humanoid robot/cyborg. I don't even know for sure, guys. This is getting really strange in here lately. The only thing I can suppose here is that apparently one part of the Plague Doctor's plan is to turn the Alliance's agents back into humans, or the closest form to humans. Why? Well, the Plague Doctor is in fact Dave from SCP Universe, and I think it might have something to do with his plans regarding the new agent's appearance. Maybe he wants to be a literal maker of the entirely new race, some kind of local god to please his ego. In any case, I doubt it will end with anything positive. Okay, so Mecha kept watching all stages of this experiment, and after some time he took out his tablet and summoned a Strider for himself to get out as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we can see how the transformed human, or cyborg, gets to his senses, and now he's not a rabid zombie anymore, but really a sane being. Immediately after waking up, he starts experiencing some horrible flashbacks of all kind, which causes him to lock in immediately and say, "I remembered what happened." After which the Plague Doctor chuckles angrily and tells him, "Welcome," while suggesting him his hand. But what did the cyborg see exactly? So during these flashbacks, we can see that TV men managed to take over the world or something like that, and they were directly responsible for robotification of the entire human race. So now cameramen and speakermen exist solely due to the TV men's dominion, apparently. Honestly, this sounds more like a fever dream, or made-up memories created by the Plague Doctor's sick mind due to his own purposes. The most obvious one is to make his new sane ally a true hater of the entire Alliance and all the agents associated with it, especially TV men whose screens are an essential ingredient for the Plague Doctor's experiments. And I expect to see more of this in the next episodes of this multiverse, the plot of which starts getting more and more complicated. And that was all for today. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you will not miss my new cool videos. And also don't forget to leave your comment about what you think will happen in the future episodes of Skibidi Zombie series, because I'm always interested in what you guys have to say. And that was me, ISO Toilet. See ya!